More likes will attract more people. Will you guys do me a favor? The ask, I'm not a huge ask guy. Will you guys double tap the screen? Can we get some likes going on? I want to get everybody's opinion on TikTok ban. See what you guys think. I know what TikTok's going to think. I mean, there's a reason why we're all here. So that one seems obvious. All right. Let's get LinkedIn up. LinkedIn is up. Okay. Did I get the audio fixed? Will you guys give me a thumbs up? Emojis. Let me know if the audio is working. I just went live 5 minutes ago. I had no audio. Will you guys let me know if there's audio? Holly Green, 45 Originals. Will you guys let me know if you could hear me? It's still muted? No. Ricky, is it muted or can you hear me? We got thumbs up. We can hear me? It's banned in India. Why do you think it's banned there, Mikey? TikTok is so indoctrinate. Okay, we got audio. Okay, so this is going to be interesting because I have TikTok here. I've got Instagram here. Thank you, everybody, for the thumbs up. You guys mind giving me some likes. Let's get a lot of people in this conversation. We've got TikTok. We've got Instagram. We have YouTube. We have X. We have LinkedIn. We have Facebook. We have all of the platforms here. Now, you're going to get something different from TikTok than you are Instagram. I already know, because every time I talk about TikTok on Instagram, you can tell that there's not everybody on Instagram is here on TikTok. So there's going to be some crossover. Here's my point. I just made a video talking about this. So do you really think ByteDance isn't owned by the CCP? Okay, so this is my perspective. Now, whenever the government comes out and says, like, we're here to protect you, it's all about your safety. For me, I don't like that. Like, I don't know. I'm always looking for the ulterior motive, for good or for bad. That's how I am. I don't like big government. I think government should be small. Anyway, my take is this. If our government in America is concerned about our safety, right? They're concerned about our data, which, look, I'm with you on that one. Like, I think we sold ourselves out a little bit too quick for convenience. So I'm there. But if they're worried about our safety for data, why aren't they creating regulation around that? Like, why aren't they banning data transfers to governments for all platforms? Not just TikTok, all platforms. Meta, Facebook, Apple, Google, any platform. Why aren't they making it illegal to do that? That seems like it's more about our safety to me. You know, somebody talked about the indoctrination of kids. Look, I get this one. Like, I'm a father of 4. I'm thinking about that as well. Like, there is a balance, even taking TikTok out of this conversation. There's definitely a balance of teaching kids how to use social media as a tool to grow your business, to grow your brand, to create opportunity. Like, I want my kids to know how to do that. But on the other side, social media can destroy you as well. Like, it's like money. Like, it can corrupt you. I'm with you on that. But when it comes to, like, the kids being indoctrinated with TikTok, why aren't we creating regulation or policy for all algorithms in America, if that's the case? To me, that seems more of an honest take from the government, that they're actually doing this for, like, the well-being of the society. And look, this is, like, there's assumptions in this. Like, I don't know these people, so I'm just kind of guessing as well. But to me, it seems like such a win-win. Like, let's say ByteDance is forced to divest, right? So we have Wall Street come in. They're going to buy it out. We're going to have basically a platform that we own. Is our data still going to be transferred to the government? Is the algorithm still going to indoctrinate the kids, or is that going to be changed? So I'm not sure divesting ByteDance solves that. To me, you create regulation around behavior, not just removing a business. Same with the algorithm. Like, I think we should create policy around that. So the other thing, like, let's say ByteDance doesn't divest and TikTok goes away. Well, now there's a massive, massive competitor that's taking massive market share from the other platforms. You just remove them. So your competition basically goes away. The platforms here become, naturally bigger and more powerful. And I'm of the belief that less competition is worse for us. Like, you guys know where I stand. Like, I want as close to a free market as we can have that's still productive. Like, I don't think capitalism is perfect. I think capitalism is the best system ever created that we've seen. And so when you think about competition, what does that force other companies to do? Forces them to be better, forces their pricing to be more competitive. Regulation or banning stuff that doesn't give us a better experience. I mean, TikTok actually for me, like, going on like a personal one, I grew up basically with Instagram. Like, I had Facebook, I had MySpace, I had Twitter, but like Instagram was the one for us. Like, I remember 2010, 2011, no, this is probably before then. This is probably 2009 or 10. Like, the whole explore page was basically models and skaters. Like, we were basically always on it because we were like so early to adoption. And like Instagram, like 2012, 13, 14, like those were the golden years. Like, the platform was so sick. And then for me, like, I remember like 2018, 19, like, I pretty much looked at Instagram as like a waste of time. Like, your audience couldn't see any of your content. You had to pay for your own following to see it. It just became stale, and it just seemed like they were trying to just monetize everything we did. And then TikTok came out. And I remember looking at, the first time I looked at TikTok, it was a little wild. I'm not going to lie. Like, everybody on TikTok here, TikTok was wild in the beginning. Like, I had a friend, Heath Brinkley, actually in 2000, this is maybe 19, 18. He's like, dude, start paying attention to TikTok. And I'm like, TikTok, like the tweens, like teeny bopper platform with all these like young kids dancing. I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, just trust me, it's going to turn into something. And then I remember like COVID hits 2020, and like, because of my, I guess you call it, story, and transitioning out of being a pro skateboarder into creating more finance and business content, like pivoting, Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, that was a hard overhaul, because I had a lot of followers that just didn't want this. They wanted me to skate, which I understand. And finally, I looked at TikTok. I was like, you know what? This is a brand new platform. No one knows who I am. Like, I'm not Mikey Taylor, the pro skateboarder. I'm just like, I'm a nobody. I was like, I'm going to start creating content there as like a fresh start. So I started, with the financial literacy and the investing. And I remember like being like 4 months into it, and I'm posting on my Instagram, like, follow me on TikTok. I had probably 500,000 followers on Instagram. I couldn't get anybody over to it, like no one at all. I had 18 followers the first 4 months. So that was humbling. And then I figured it out, and like, 2 months later, I had 100,000 followers, and then 200,000 followers, and then 300. And there was a moment where my following on TikTok that was basically as close to 100% following me for like what I'm doing now, business and entrepreneurship, real estate investing. That was 100% of my following. It was bigger than Instagram, right? And I remember like thinking that was awesome. Like, this is the new way of creating content. And then all of a sudden you saw Instagram Reels, and then you saw YouTube Shorts. And then all of a sudden my content started going out to a new audience. And then my Instagram started growing again. And then my Instagram became bigger than TikTok, even though followers are just a kind of metric, almost like a vanity metric. But still, that was like encouraging. That only happened because TikTok was taking attention away from other platforms. That's competition. So I don't know. I don't like the idea of a ban. I would way rather see every single business in America have to operate to the same standard than what feels like government just like running like hostile takeover into this business. I don't know. That's my thoughts. What do you guys think? I'm gonna and because we're like running on multiple platforms, we've got everyone. I'll tell you what everybody thinks, because there's gonna be a difference. I'm gonna show you what everybody thinks on TikTok and Instagram and see kind of where everybody's landing. But MySpace was cooler. Snapchat, a lot of people like Snapchat. The government has broken roads. Yep. Look into the past. This is not the first TikTok ban marketing play. So that's interesting. I did see that on TikTok. A lot of people on TikTok were saying that this is a marketing play for TikTok. That seems crazy to me. If I owned TikTok, I get the exposure they're getting, but I would not think that taking the risk for that type of exposure would be worth the potential of losing that many users. I mean, you're going to watch, if TikTok gets banned, you're going to watch the value of that company plummet. It's going to plummet. And they're, looking at like their original investors, to say that in their original plan that they were going to basically, be a contender in America. And even what they're doing with 3PLs and, TikTok shops and the business front, like they have a platform or an investment that has a large runway in front of them. You cut America out, that is a devastating blow. My algorithm is weird on TikTok, all kind of creepy acting. It's annoying. I hear you on that. My TikTok algorithm is basically real estate investors. There's a lot of golf content because we started the Pin High series of me golfing with other entrepreneurs, and that changed my algorithm, but I'm into golf, so I'm not mad at that at all. And then I get I get some political content and a lot of conspiracy theory content, which I don't know why, but I get a lot of that on there too. I took a poll on my IG. This is from Ricky. I took a poll on my IG. 20% said no ban, and 80% said ban or I don't care. Yeah, so I guess this is when you run polls like this, I don't know. I'm a little bit jaded now, actually, because when I started getting involved in at least local politics, you get it's an eye-opening experience to see how many people kind of pay attention to what's going on. It's not a lot. Like, if I were to guess, I would say only like 3% of people are educated on what's happening, like take away the local or county or even state level. Like, no one pays attention really to the bigger stuff as well. So, what people will say is politics is a game of convincing the uneducated to vote for you. So if that's true, some polls like this, like I just wonder, like, did somebody who doesn't pay attention to anything going on hear that a Chinese company, which, you have the CCP or, the Communist Party owns it, that's a risk to America? Like at first glance, you go, yeah, I hear that. I feel that. I'm on board with that. Like that would be my natural reaction too. But I just start questioning stuff when you don't see companies here held to the same standard or even regulation across the board for what the concern is being told to everyone. So I don't know. I want to know your guys' opinion though. I'll take some time looking through the comments. Bro, just admit the CCP is funding your campaign, Mikey. I don't think the CCP has heard of me. My campaign for city council, the max donation was about $500. I don't know, and I don't know how involved the CCP is on something like a council member in Thousand Oaks. But look, like, you guys watch all the content I create. Like, I don't like communism. I don't like socialism. Like, you guys have heard me actively talk against that. Like, I want a free market. I want as much freedom as we possibly can. This is not me like championing for them. I don't know. I just think it seems fishy to me, I guess, is the only thing I'm going to say. Oh, you're absolutely involved in the dark money. That's too good. Agree with you, Mikey. And look, I'm not, like, I could be wrong. Like, I am not too, I am not, how would I say this? I am totally comfortable saying that I don't know everything. Like, I make mistakes as well. I don't know. Like, shoot, maybe. But I don't know. I just try to look at, like, how I would expect the government to create policy to, if the case is just, like, for protection of us or making sure, like, our future grows into, like, the next leaders of the following generations, or the upcoming generations, this isn't how I would think you go about it, but I don't know. It seems anti-First Amendment. I agree. I think it does as well. Some only see a picture, a few see the details. Yep, that's true. That is true. China doesn't have a free market, so why should we respect them and give them the benefit of the doubt in our market? Well, this is from Tom Baum. I guess we would have to, as a country, make the decision that, of that standard, are we cutting every other country out of our economy? Like, is it good for us to move more into a kind of nationalist approach and, we don't buy or sell to anyone that is not exactly like us? That has a lot of impacts, a lot. From an economic standpoint, business will become much, much, much more expensive if that's the case. Now, I think there's, like anything, balance to it. Like, opening up, like having a global market, we do get products for cheaper. Like it does make it so that the cost of goods is better for us. Does it open up risk as well? Yeah, like we saw that with COVID. Like, watching how different countries reacted to the lockdown and how that affected the supply chain and what that cost, rolled over to us. Like, we felt that. And so, look, there's risks or pros and cons always to any decision you make. But I don't know if we want to hold that standard or not, that we will only do business with people who are exactly like us. I don't know if that would be good. If you are against socialism, should we get rid of Social Security? So this is Peace 777. Social Security, Medicare. Look, what I would say when it comes to those, what they were originally created for is very different than what they're being used for now. And honestly, like we have to figure out a solution for them because they're going bankrupt. Like if we don't change anything and they just run the course, like those things are out of money in the next 9 years. So I don't know what would, if it were up to me, like what would I do? I think you have to have some type of program that helps people in need. Like I think that's actually good. I always like the idea of empowering the individual. Like that's definitely more my outlook. Like how can we empower each of us to set ourselves up? But having something in place for people in need, I think that's important. It's just at how far do you go with it, right? Like it's like regulation. This is probably a good way to say it. I believe in, I think capitalism is a great structure. It does not mean there's no challenges with it. I think it's the best we've ever seen. And in a free market, I like a free market. Like I do think competition is good. So then how does regulation come into play? Look, if you don't have regulation, a total free market can actually be catastrophic. Because for anyone who's an entrepreneur, especially when you add competition in, you all have to know the game you're playing. And so without regulation, the nature of having to compete, the second you get a bad actor, somebody doing something that's not right, you're feeling a lot more pressure to compromise so that you can stay in business as well. Regulation solves that. So I actually think some regulation is good. I just think the opposite is at play as well. Like too much regulation ruins things as well. Like look at the housing market. Like this is probably a really good one. In a lot of markets, I think too much regulation has created the scenario we're in right now where it's too expensive to build. There's no incentive to build. And when markets are too regulated, no one does. And then all of a sudden you have a housing crisis and there's 15 to 20 people putting offers in on every home or every unit to rent. What happens in those cases? Like prices go up, rent goes up, value goes up. And so in a free market, what would happen is, okay, there's not enough homes. Prices are going up. Opportunity. Developers come in, they build too much. That's the case. and then all of a sudden there's a crash, and then prices come down. Like, that's the healthy cycle in a market, but that's not at play. So I think there's a balance. I always think there's a balance. The first time the government tried to ban TikTok, didn't they move to a majority American ownership? I get what you're saying, but doesn't every platform do that? Well, no, no, not every platform does that. There was an attempt to ban it prior to this. It feels different now. Like it feels like this thing's going to run its course, and it feels like ByteDance is going to have to make a decision to divest. Now, if it were, I don't know, if I were to guess, let's say this thing passes the Senate, I think ByteDance divests. That's what I think. I think they end up divesting. Doesn't mean they're going to. I could be wrong there, but that's what I would assume they do, because without America, their investment just, I mean, we're talking about it cratering. So we will see. Some only, let's see what's going on. TikTok thoughts here. Took 4 years. Is dude just talking to himself, pretending he's on a podcast? Michael, I have a camera set right here that's streaming to all the platforms. So I'm also talking to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, all of them. But because we're talking about TikTok and the TikTok ban, you got to have TikTok on here. But TikTok makes it very difficult to stream. So if I want to do TikTok with everything else, I got to do it from the phone. So yeah, I get it. It looks like I'm looking here. Now, if anyone's not checking out the new podcast, it's called Life with Mikey. I actually have a podcast. We were 29th last week for our very first episode in the business entrepreneur space. It's on everything. Spotify, YouTube, Apple. So check it out. I actually do have a podcast, but that's good. I like that. If the bill that was passed only allowed them to ban TikTok, then China would just come out with another app that does the same thing. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what the outcome is, but it's interesting because there's definitely there's an age barrier here to this conversation. Like the majority of my friends that are like my age, they're not messing with TikTok. Like they have Instagram and Facebook, most of them Instagram. They never jumped on TikTok. Yesterday I spoke at a middle school to like the 8th grade class. They all have TikTok. So middle school, high school, they got TikTok. Seems like Gen Z heavy TikTok. There's definitely like a millennial X and even like a little boomer niche, but this conversation changes depending on your age. Like the younger you are, the more you're about TikTok. What I mean by that, Mikey, is you need to read the fine print in the bill, as it gives them sweeping power to ban any app that they see fit that can be problematic. Well, yeah, I hear you on that one, but I guess my point is this. The problems that they're telling us about are also problems on our platforms, like the American platforms. So those aren't going anywhere. So I guess that's my point. Like, I would rather see them create regulation around how platforms have to operate here, as opposed to banning them. That's kind of what I think would be best. But I don't know. That's my thought. The U.S. government is a puppet for the fascist American bourgeois. This is the Marxist bourgeois. How do you say that? Bourgeoisie. Gosh, that's insane. I can't even remember how to pronounce it. TikTok term says you give them all and any info on the phone and any device you log into. Look, on terms, I'm with you. Have you read any of the other terms? Facebook, Instagram. How much time do we spend actually looking at the terms to anything we're doing? Like when you go to the doctor's office, the dentist, like how often are you actually reading through the terms? Most of us don't do that. My point is a lot of the terms suck, period, on all the platforms. China banned out YouTube and Facebook. Yeah, so look, China does this. Like China does ban other platforms. And I think that's maybe like part of it for me is we are not a communist structure. Like, but it feels like we're behaving like one. I don't know. This doesn't feel like a free market, like American system. Maybe I got to think about that one. Maybe there's a underlying concern to this, you know? AI will help summarize reading terms. AI is going to be a game changer. All sweeping power always gets abused. I agree. Totally agree. Can you shout out to B the EMT? Be the EMT. What's up, legend? How are you? I hope everybody's good. All right. Well, what do we do on here if TikTok goes away? What look, for me, I just enjoy TikTok, and my business doesn't really like. If TikTok goes away, is there an impact to me? Yeah. Is it huge? Not really. Like my business doesn't rely very heavily on TikTok. Like if you're looking at my business and the majority of how it's benefited, that's from every other platform actually. So my business isn't impacted that much, but there's a lot of people, a lot of businesses making money and really surviving because of TikTok. So it'll be interesting to see the impact if that were actually to happen to the creator economy, to small business. That's going to be an interesting one. I don't know. What do you guys, TikTok, what do you guys think about it? What do you think about Dave Ramsey's baby steps? Dave Ramsey's baby steps, I think, are pretty good. But Dave Ramsey is for people who are struggling with debt. That's why you go to Dave Ramsey. If you're struggling with debt, go to him. If your goal is to create wealth, I don't think he's the right guy. Eat Don Wapo hot sauce? Yeah, right. I'd be smoked. Apple, Amazon, or Microsoft are most likely to acquire TikTok. If ByteDance divests, for sure. Biggest problems with Meta rapidly expanding? Well, I guess it's this. I would rather see, look, I think it just comes down to like a very core belief for me that I think competition is good. Like I think the more competitors out there, the more the bigger players are forced to change. Like I don't like the idea of like a very small, centralized kind of control in any industry. Like I don't think that's good for us. And if Facebook Meta gets bigger and there's no one, I mean, just go back to the original story I told you, like 2008, like Instagram, Facebook, those were not the places to be, right? Like what they were really building out was to basically charge you for your following to see anything, right? They're making it so like purchase focused. TikTok changed that. Like TikTok has created this new experience on Instagram, and Instagram's now like awesome again. And so I don't know, without that, I think that goes away. People make the argument on like controlling information, and that Facebook and Instagram is still very controlling on what we can and can't see. Now, I don't know if I actually think TikTok from a censorship standpoint is actually pretty bad. There's people that make the argument that like TikTok's wide open for you to see anything. That hasn't been my experience. I see TikTok censoring a lot. So I'm not sure you have that argument, but there are people that definitely believe that. No, they're not. The one likely to acquire is Larry Ellison. I saw this. Oracle already owns the U.S. infrastructure of TikTok. Yeah, I saw an article on this morning. What up, Mikey T? Killer Will, what's up? Hope you are having a blessed day, Mikey. I saw you got interviewed by Preston Pollard recently. He's from my hometown. Yeah, Preston came into our office, and it was funny, man. He walked in in my office, you walk through the front door, and it brings you into the lobby, and then our secretary basically brings you in. And he walked in, and he was like, bro, I had no idea you were doing it like this. Like, I thought you were just like creating content in like one of the rooms in your house. It was cool. He's like, dude, you guys have like, I don't know, when he came in, there was probably 30 people working here. We have like a phenomenal office. So it's almost about 9,000 feet. And he was like, dude, this is crazy. So it was actually really awesome having him here. It was a cool experience for me too. He's a good interviewer. Do you think American creator should move to Canada to still have access to TikTok? Juju, that's a good question. Depends on how much money you're making off TikTok. If it's all of your income, dang. Well, I guess there's a depends. Like what happens to your income now that all Americans are no longer using the app? That's probably what you'd have to figure out. And then going to Canada, are you still even going to have the same income, or should all creators be focusing their time on other platforms now? I don't know. That's a good question. Dylan Burns, is the next move for them to ban X, Twitter, maybe the ultimate goal here? Yeah, I had somebody text me yesterday or maybe it was 2 days ago, the Congress decision, and somebody was like, they're coming after Elon next. And I was like, they're coming after him next? What are you talking about? They're coming after him now. Like, they're not being quiet about that. They are coming after him. All right, let's see. Elon should buy TikTok. I think Elon's done buying platforms personally. I think X was the last one. What about a VPN? I don't know, actually. But, well, look, if you want to just use TikTok to use TikTok, that's one thing. But it's when you're talking about that many users going away overnight, the whole experience is going to change for sure. The value of that thing is going to, I mean, that's the biggest shocker. Like if you're an investor of TikTok, to me, this is a scary, scary time. Mikey, I'd like to partner with you to teach athletes NIL and financial literacy. Also to teach educators and troubled youth not only how to get the bag, but how to keep it real. Would you be interested? Unbecoming, 100%. Just shoot me a DM, or you can shoot my assistant an email. Her email is Tawny, TAWNY, at communecapital.com, COMMUNE capital.com, and she'll schedule some time. They're controlling the narrative. That's what it feels like. Steve's Visuals, what's up, my man? I was a fan. Where were you skateboarding? When or where? I was skateboarding. Well, gosh, you know what I was thinking about the other night? I went to Paul Rodriguez's P. Rudd's Park, and Brian Herman was there, for anybody who's a skater in this. And I haven't seen Herman in years, so almost 10 years. And somebody's like, oh, yeah, like legends in the building, and P-Rod skating still, Herman skating still. And I thought about it, and I'm almost coming up on a decade of not being a pro skateboarder. That is crazy. 10 years of not being a pro skateboarder is wild. So I used to skate. I skated basically my whole life. I was pro from 2001 to 2016. And it was awesome. It was so fun. All right. That's wild. I agree. TikTok is the bread and butter for some. I know. I have a lot of friends. We have a podcast coming out on Tuesday, next Tuesday, with Gino the Ghost. And Gino was talking about how much money he's making on TikTok. It's a lot. That fool's making bread on TikTok. That gets banned, that goes away. And there's a lot of people that's going to affect. Barracks Mikey, dude, I've been at the Barracks since day one. Skater, what's up, guys? Heck yeah, legend. Still got a lot of them. Why can't we just use a VPN? I think you probably will be able to. Like if you want to use a VPN, you could probably get away with using the app. No one's going to be able to download it, though, from the App Store. So that's only going to be people who have the app downloaded on their phone. And I don't know, what's that going to be, 1%, if that? So you're talking about like a catastrophic event for TikTok, in my belief. Well, you guys, I know TikTok, you guys operate off this like. So you guys hit the screen. Let's get some more opinions in here on the TikTok ban. Do you guys think it's going to happen if the Senate passes it? Like, look, Congress, that was not even close. It was like, what, 352 to like 60? That was not a That was an overwhelming L. Is the Senate going to do that as well? And if so, what happens? Does ByteDance divest, or is TikTok gone? That's the question. Yeah, man, I've been a fan of you for a long time. I still watch your videos. You're a legend, Steez. I appreciate you. Thank you, my G. What do you guys think? Is it going to happen? YouTube Shorts is better now. You know what? Shorts, I like Shorts. I've been putting in a lot of work on my YouTube channel. Trying to do actually a little bit more long form content. The podcast is all long form, which is cool. I like having time to like add context, but I don't know. As far as short form apps, I think TikTok is still the best at it. Instagram's leveled up. Like I think Instagram's firing right now. I like YouTube as well. I don't know. There's actually a lot of functions with X that are good. Now it's a different user base. Like talk about heat. Like people are gnarly on X. Like the comments over there are so much gnarlier than any other platform. But there's actually like a lot of rad things about it. So I've been doing a lot of long form on X as well. Like I keep uploading, like I uploaded the full hour-long podcast. I did the 20-minute pin high segments, and the quality is sick. All right, what do you guys think? Remember when Twitter closed and the phone that had the app icon sold for, yep, that's right. Love you, Mikey. Do you still wear your Mikey ones? I don't, actually. I still have a handful of the shoes, like the shoes I had, but I don't wear them that much. I don't know. I'm either wearing, like right now, I just got some Converse on. It's usually Converse or like nicer shoes, you know? Like, I don't know. I dress up more now. All right, I've got 5 or so, 10 minutes left. Hit me with anything you guys want to know. Let's do the last 10 minutes, just straight Q&A. Anything you guys want to know. Mikey days at the First Barracks. I'm a 22-year-old commercial real estate broker, and I love this job, but I feel I want to make a move to try something different in a new place. Any advice? Yeah, it's what I found when people want to make career moves, they end up staying at the job that they want to leave way longer than they should. And then once they make the move, they basically tell themselves, dang, I wish I would have done that a long time ago. So I would say get really clear on what you want to do. Make sure that there's an opportunity there because you're talking about income going away. So you're going to need to make some money to support you. And if you got the shot, I would go for it. 100%. I would absolutely go for it. Just want to say thank you for your time, man. It was a good discussion. Art, I appreciate you. Thank you, Legend, for being here. What's Chris Cole really like? Chris Cole's amazing. He's so cool. Nice, just nice, genuine guy. And he's so good at skating, it's annoying. I miss him. Favorite car? I like the Cybertruck. I'm not going to lie. What do you guys think about the Cybertruck? My wife hates it. My kids hate it. I'll tell you my plan. So I put a Cybertruck on reserve like 2 years ago or so. And I was driving a Model X. And my original plan was I was going to drive the Model X for 3 years. The Cybertruck was going to come out. We were going to retire the minivan because I have 4 kids, so we're definitely running that. And then the X was going to go to my wife, and I was going to jump in the Cybertruck. That was the original plan. She hates it. Like, she does not want the Cybertruck. And she doesn't love my X, actually. She doesn't want the X. And so I bought my X during the freaking height because I crashed my other one. So I paid an arm and a leg for it. And then Elon dropped the price, so I lost basically $40,000 overnight. And so I'm holding. So I can't sell that thing. So the Cybertruck, I think, is out of the conversation for a little bit. But I like that. I do like that car, I think. I like that it's different. Cybertruck, do you like... Yeah, totally. What's your biggest challenge and lowest point in your life to date? and how did you bounce back? Okay. My biggest challenge right now, I would say, my biggest challenge is there's been a big increase in people wanting to work with me or schedule things. There's been an influx of people reaching out, and managing all that efficiently is probably more of a current challenge. Saying no to a lot. And then probably the add-on to that is I'm so busy right now. There's so much coming after me that, like, if you ask me what I'm doing in 3 days, I can't tell you. Like, I look at what I'm doing the next day, the night before, and then I do it, and it's the same thing over and over. And so there's a little bit of a challenge just with the family. Like, Jen feels like she's in the dark. She doesn't know what's going on. Something pops up. So that's probably a more current challenge for me. The lowest point in my life, the lowest point in my entire life was in 2016, 17, probably 2017, 16, 17. And it was low because I was no longer a pro skateboarder. And so that was hard for me. And like my marriage was not doing well. It was like failing. And so I was like struggling on like kind of finding myself again. So that was hard. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I was like, basically, like, to really wrap it up, all of my identity prior to that was being a skater and then a pro skater. And so when that went away, like, it just felt like I had lost myself. And I felt this like something missing inside, like this emptiness. And my original like scramble to figure this out was I need to start another company to fill that void. Like, if I'm no longer Mikey the pro skateboarder, we had already sold St. Archer, so I didn't have a business at this point. Well, I need to start another business, and that's what I'm going to be known for. And so I was like running around trying to start companies, and I was originally going to do a shoe company. Thank God I didn't, but I was originally going to do a shoe company that was going to be called Ovni. It was before we did Ovni with Eric Bork. And the reason why I was doing it was wrong. Basically, DC let me go. I had a contract with DC that still had time on it. They basically terminated it early, told me to, you know, if I think something's wrong, take me to court. And my career ended just like that. And it hurt. Like, that, I felt like I got punched in the face hard over and over. And so my first like just reaction was, okay, I'm going to start a shoe company then. I'm going to show you guys how it's done. And so I had the business plan, we had shoes designed, we had samples of the shoes, and thank God I realized that this was not what I was supposed to be doing, and the reason why I was doing it was wrong. Like, I wasn't doing this because I felt like I was being called to do it or that this was my purpose. I was doing it out of spite, and that would have been devastating. And so I abandoned the shoe company idea, realized I had a bigger problem at hand. There was something that I had to solve. Like, the idea that I'm no longer a pro skateboarder, my whole world got rocked, and I didn't know what the heck I was supposed to be doing. I never wanted to feel that again. Like, to me, that was a one and done experience that I never wanted to happen. And so I had to start figuring out like truly, like, what was the reason why I was here? Like, well, what is the point of all this? What is my purpose, right? And I wanted it to be so rooted in like something that wasn't going to basically be jeopardized, that it didn't matter what happened in my life. If a career or a business I started failed or something didn't go well, it didn't crush me. It just became like a failure that I was going to move past. And so I spent probably 6 months like really trying to like figure out like what my purpose was. And then I spent another probably 6 months with Jen trying to rebuild our marriage. And then from there, I started Commune after. And it's been phenomenal ever since. Like, 2017 was the worst year for our marriage. It was at the 7-year mark. It was awful. We were both miserable. And we started going to marriage retreats. We started going to counseling. We started learning just how to have conflicts and how to get to resolution. And, I learned about love language, which I never knew about, and how Jen, my wife, perceives love, all these things, right? And by 2018, our marriage was thriving. And even today, 2024, we're in a really good spot. Doesn't mean things are perfect. Doesn't mean we go through challenges. But what we experience from that is if we were both willing to work through the crappy point in our marriage and the challenges and the pain, what we got to experience on the other side was amazing. Our relationship became so much stronger. So I would say it was encouraging for us knowing that we will have times in our marriage in the future that it's going to get hard again. And we've both now gone through those kind of refining fire moments. That's encouraging for the future. So I would say anyone in a relationship, remember that. Anyone going into one, there will be hard times. Get through them. Adversity and challenge makes you stronger. It makes everything better. So that was my experience. But that was a tough time. That was definitely hard. All right. I'll get to some questions just because I was talking when comments were coming through. All right. What do you do differently? What would you do differently about your skate career? Oh man. If I could go back to when I was a pro skateboarder, I was really, I paid too much attention to the core. The small group of core skaters, I was so worried about their opinion and them not liking me. I would have got over that quick. I figured that out later on in my career. So I would have basically done what I wanted to do. I wouldn't have tried to skate for anyone else. I wouldn't try to please anyone else. And I probably would have tried to view my career as a business a little bit earlier. Took me some time to get there. And I probably would have, I think those two things actually would have been impactful. The US is very good in researching, and I believe they put some red flags to see if China is using TikTok to their benefit directly, and they found out those were the facts. Alejandro, I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. You may be a little bit more trustworthy than me, but I think that just that statement shows you're probably a pretty cool guy that people enjoy being around. So is TikTok done? I think if TikTok gets banned, I think it's such a fatal blow, is what I think. All right, everybody, it is 5 o'clock. I have to get back to the family and start making dinner, hang out with the kids, baths, get them to bed, do a little bit of work, start over tomorrow morning. So thank you guys. I appreciate you being here. We will see what happens with TikTok. I will see all you guys soon.